Wonderful. Thanks for the invite, and nice to meet both of you.
You have some fun things going on in your neighborhood.
Oh, I've had fun things going on in my neighborhood for this last term. Actually, yeah, it's been an interesting one to say the least.
Well, can you give our listeners just a little bit of an idea of who you are and what exactly is going on?
Sure. Well, my name is Amber Harris, and I am on my third term as a town councilor in Gibbons, which is located about 20 minutes northeast of Edmonton. So I'm on my 12th year. Um, During this, I ended up stumbling on a Pandora's box of chaos, for lack of better terms, in November of 2021, and really, it's what I've discovered is a lot of cover-ups and interference by our administration, uh, and I would say council as well. That's my opinion, on financial issues, the financial health, where our money has been going, how much we've involved and we paid a lot of money for infrastructure builds for the a couple of developers around town. So yeah, that is Reader's Digest.
Okay.
Reader's Digest version.
Let's see
So
if we can get this as part of
yeah,
the whole process. So,
yeah, you bet.
for those of our listeners who are not paying attention or not quite up to speed, just correct me if I'm wrong, please.
Sure.
We have a council. How many people are on the council?
7.
And that includes the mayor.
You betcha.
So there's 7 people in the council, and council instructs the CAO
Yep, that's Chief Administrative Officer. You bet.
with whatever the instructions are. So the CAO is responsible for actually making things occur, and then the CAO then returns and reports to council. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, the structure of municipal government, if you picture an hourglass.
Yep.
So the council would be at the top, the CAO would be, or the manager, town city manager would be the center, and then the administration, town, the staff would be at the bottom. So we basically would direct the CAO to do something, or he would come to us to make decisions, whether it be borrowing decisions, etc. And then he's the one, or she's the one who would implement it. Yeah.
Okay, so if we have basically, a general gist, so what you said is that there's a Pandora's box that's opened,
Yeah.
and it would be from your observation of reports coming in from the chief operating officer,
Yeah.
from the town, and you would read stuff and you go, that doesn't add up.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yes, that's one of the ways that the Pandora's box has been open. The other one is 3 a.m. searches on my part. So yeah.
What's going sideways?
Well, I had an incident that, like I said, sort of spurred this whole thing, with a fellow counselor in November of 2021, and I'm gonna really try and condense this for you guys and for your listeners, because it's I could write a book or a movie, but anyway, I had a quite a negative experience with one of my fellow counselors, and I was groped in November of 2021 by him while we were in council chambers. And so the way that all of this started is when I had contacted my mayor to make a formal complaint. At that point in time, he said to me, "Well, this is the second complaint. We should do something." And
Okay.
the way that the council, again, is structured in particular is the mayor is only the spokesperson. So that individual does not have any more decision-making powers than another council member.
Yeah.
He's, right? I suppose in a couple of instances he does, but certainly not to make arbitrary decisions like this. And so when he said that, because I know what parameters we fall under, I really was not very impressed, to say the least, because he had kept this from the six of us. And what I had found out subsequently was that a complaint had come in about this same counselor in January of 2020 that was from a waitress from a local restaurant here.
And don't you
And
guys have a
so,
code of conduct?
um, yes, we did, but it basically, I mean, I'm sure you gentlemen know that with Bill 50, the Municipal Government Act does not require councils to like that's not mandated anymore.
Oh,
Municipal Affairs has pulled that out, so we did at the time. But really, that's the fox guarding the hen house, you guys, right? Like it's often been used, and I've spoken with countless counselors across the province since they've got wind of, well, whether or not I've heard of their situation or vice versa, and they're being weaponized against council members who are asking questions that are not appreciated by some.
okay,
You know,
but you've been on council for 12 years.
that's right.
This is this the first time you run up against it at this level?
Yeah, because when people run for an elected position, and it doesn't really matter what level of government it is, right? Um, you know, I would say for the most part, people go in there with with good intentions. Certainly, the folks in the municipal world that I've definitely in small towns, they go in with good intentions, but we are also completely ignorant as to what the job entails, right? And so we rely solely on the person in the CAO position. See, that person is basically our trust. We're told that that person is our trusted advisor. So, whether or not it's a bureaucrat at the municipal level or, higher up, those positions are very, very powerful because in essence, if they're not an ethical, if they're not ethical people or something is going on, that's shady going on, the information that they could present to the elected officials in order to make a decision, can be massaged however they want that decision to
So
feel.
what you have is you have one individual who, when you brought it forward, you were actually the second complaint.
That's right. And actually, what had happened is that not only did I find out about the complaint that occurred in 2020, but as time went on, I found out that there was a complaint from a summer student in 2017. And this is by the same individual, by the way, and as well as a counselor in a neighboring town the month prior. And I actually, he was charged. I went to the RCMP, as did the other counselor, and the outcome was an agreement between the Crown and his lawyer for a peace bond for a year. So,
Now, is that the extent? But you said Bill 50's come in and stuck its nose in pretty hard.
yeah, at that point in time, I should probably note that this former counselor and our CAO were very, very close friends, which, that clouds objectivity, certainly, right? So, when I came forward, I didn't even, most people that I know, if they found out about one of their friends behaving this way, they wouldn't be friends for very long, right? So I just assumed that would be the case. Yeah, no, it wasn't. So he was sanctioned under our code of conduct, punished. And but basically, like I was told that it would be, and this was into early 2023. I was told that it would be made public because there's very little recourse insofar as removing a counselor, and at that time we could not at all. It would have to be taken up to municipal affairs for that decision. But anyway, so he was basically it was kept very quiet. My community wasn't aware. I was told that there was going to be a press release and whatnot. And yeah, and so it was like I said, it was very hush hush, even with the other three complaints, very very quiet. My counsel are all aware. He admitted it in front of my counsel on two different occasions prior to the decision of the sanctions. And yeah, so
Okay, so
you
before we go too far,
sure,
at the time of this,
yeah.
who was in charge of municipal affairs?
At the at that time, I believe it was Rebecca Schultz. Um, don't quote me on that. I do know that. Remember the Travelgate
Yes.
incident during COVID? I can't remember at what point Rick McIver was put back, into that position. But I do know that in January of 2023, Rebecca Schultz was. So I'm going to assume prior to the May 23 election, though, Rick McIver was back in there. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So the thing is, you you have like a. I'm sorry to be kind of rude about
no,
it, but
no.
you guys have.
Actually, I'll tell you guys, I would not make an allegation like this if I didn't have, you know, I would not.
But
At,
your
yeah.
community needs to know
Hmm.
for a future election if this guy has done wrong.
Absolutely. I've told them. Yeah. But I was sort of, see, during 2022, I really spent all of 2022 trying to convince the rest of my council that the way that the mayor and the CAO at the time handled both my, um, you know, uh, situation as well as the three others, insofar as, well, the counselor from Warrenville was, like I said, was just the month prior. That one was not dealt with until after mine. But the two prior, the one in 2017 and the one in 2020, that they were covered up. And so I really spent the 2022 year trying to to relay to my council that the everything was completely mismanaged. Not only mismanaged, it was against the MGA, and to no avail. So, but I didn't want to bring. It wasn't my intention to bring a negative light to my community. So, I really just I pleaded with them, right? And so, and to this day, none of them support me about it, and they all know. Like, I mean, when I say that he admitted it in front of my all of my council. So, you know, it's not, but that was just the beginning. That's when I say a Pandora's box, that just opened the door to the shenanigans with the finances into 2023 and, to the current time. So,
Okay, so when you say stuff like it just opened up the door,
yeah.
how so?
Well, to be honest with you, I can tell you how, so my 2022 year was difficult to say the least, but how it segued into the me questioning the finances and the behavior and the decisions our administration was making without us knowing was at the beginning of January 2023. I was chatting with a town employee, and this employee said to me that an individual who had been working for the town, another individual who'd been working for the town for 3-4 years, was going to become a permanent employee. And that announcement was made at the staff Christmas party the month prior. And the significance of this, I'll tell you about the significance of this individual in a moment. So at that point, I responded by saying, well, she's been here for 3 or 4 years. What do you mean a permanent employee? She's not a permanent employee. Anyways, and just by chance, within 2 or 3 days of that conversation, I mean, I'm from Sturgeon County, you guys, so like I've been here since 1975, and I'm 53. So I went to high school with half my town, I'm sure, right? And I got three kids, so I know a lot of people in town here. And I received a phone call from a gal that I went to high school with, and she told me that she had heard from her mother, who lived in an adult living apartment complex, that we were paying for this same individual's apartment. And I thought, what the heck? So I did a little research, and what I found out was we were actually and we are currently to this day still practicing this. We are paying her company, and she is a consultant, and she is holds the position of the director of corporate services, finance, etc. So we have a non-employee, town employee, who is in charge of our bank account, um, who it has there's no checks and balances with her. So that's sort of, when I questioned that early 2023 at a council meeting, it was my CAO at the time. Yeah, he admitted it and said we are paying her through her company. We are paying her for her food and lodging, and we're paying her through her company because so that she can take advantage of tax.
The tax, yeah, for payroll tax, not claiming
right,
it right
yeah.
up front.
So and like I said, you guys, that's what sort of I asked. That's what would happen is I would ask one question and I'd be left with five new ones. So
Now,
yeah.
do you hear stories like that amongst other councils, other communities around you?
Um, like are you referring to the just generally with
The employment situation? Because I'm
oh
going to tell
gosh,
you right
no.
now, if I could go to my local community and say, listen, hire me, but then on
Yep.
top of a living wage, I want an apartment and a food allowance.
Yep.
I'm making great money.
Well, I can tell you, gentlemen, that this, I mean, and it's public information because the way that I even found out was I went through our accounts payable listings for 2022. And at that point in time, and it's just a little bit more now, she makes $170,000 a year.
Plus the
Yeah,
rental and food.
that's pretty sweet. Yeah. So are you, no, not that it's not unheard of to have the executive positions in other municipalities, so directors, right, be filled with a consultant, but it's not, it's short term. Usually it's when the position is vacant. We utilize a consulting company. Somebody is put in that position until it's filled. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we're only talking about 3 to 6 months type thing, right? Not 3 years.
100%, which raised a ton of red flags for me, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And who's responsible for getting that contract signed?
Well, the CAO is governed by what's called a CAO bylaw, and if I can just pause and because I I really want to stress you guys that when people run for an elected seat, it's we really know nothing, right? So it doesn't matter what your personal profession is, but I mean, if you have a background in accounting, it could be helpful. But if you're not familiar with like the MGA, the Municipal Government Act, if you like all of that sort of stuff, like I said, we rely very, very heavily on the CAO position to provide us with the information, like all of the information to make, you know, um, really fulsome decisions, right? And educated decisions. And so, when going back to my comments, my statement about the CAO bylaw, what that is that is what council approves in order and it's what the CAO position is governed by, right?
Okay.
But again, if we're not told that such a thing exists, we don't know about it, right? Does that make sense? I mean,
Yep.
so having said that, the CAO bylaw that was in place at the time of her, coming on board, I didn't even know what it was. Like, I mean, I probably have read it, but it had not been updated since 1995. It's since been, it's since been for sure. But in that bylaw, council was supposed to have an input on the director positions, the hiring of anybody in the director positions. But my CAO didn't. Like, I mean, he really groomed us. I would say he really groomed us and told us the information that we needed to, that he wanted us to know, right?
All of these people, Amber, have been raping and pillaging. All of these people have been raping and pillaging the system for a very long time. There's no governing set of rules over the government, provincial, federal, or municipal.
It's a racket. That's what I've been calling it. And I don't say that lightly. It's I said at the beginning of our conversation that I've spoken with other counselors throughout Alberta, and it's the same thing happening across. Are you gentlemen familiar? I'm sure you're familiar with the Chestermere situation.
Oh yeah.
What happened in Chestermere, and Medicine Hat.
With the ACERT that never got filed in Chestermere.
I'm sorry?
The ACERT that never got filed in Chestermere.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, my dear. You're just really quiet.
The ACERT that never actually got filed in Chestermere.
Yeah, and really, it's the same individuals from municipal affairs, same law firm, same in some instances it's same auditors, and it's it's been the council members from these municipalities that have all been questioning financial decisions of the administration. That
these people are all operating without a set of rules. I'm just going to go off while it's on topic. There is no constitution in Canada. There hasn't been forever.
Yep.
You've got a lot of people running around now preaching referendum and separation. Well, first of all, we don't need to ask for a divorce if we'd never been married.
Right.
When Queen Victoria died, January 22nd, 1901, we became a free country, so to speak, without a name.
Right.
But even, I mean, regardless of how you go through it, the reality is that there are actually supposed to be rules to operate by.
Supposed to be.
I'm not familiar with what took place in Medicine Hat, but even out of Chestermere, the duty of, I'll say, the police is to investigate.
That's right.
And if there is an investigation, there should be a report. And if there is a report, there should be an action.
Oh, gentlemen, I actually, like I said, I filed a statement with the RCMP about the sexual assault in November of 2021. But I also went to the RCMP in, what year are we in? Holy smokes, where's the time gone? I went to the RCMP in the last quarter of 24. I contacted them and I made a statement about the financial, my red flags that I've been, seeing and sort of gathering up for a couple of years prior. And they did nothing. I mean, I have documentation, and for over the last 12 years, and I told them that. Nope, did nothing.
According to the Criminal Code of Canada, if a crime has been presented and it breaks criminal code, the people must be investigated and charged. The people that did not do the investigation or press charges are the ones responsible now. But now this leads to a long list of people all over the country.
It certainly does. And not only did I go to the RCMP, I have been in contact with the provincial government people. I ran for the UCP in the 2019 election. I ran for a nomination. And so between, and I was disqualified, by the way, proud about that. And I'm thank God I didn't make it. Anyways, So through my position as a counselor, for 12 years and that experience, I actually met many of the current and former MLAs. And when all of this sort of transpired, like I said, from November 21 onward, I have contacted, oh gosh, I could name them, right up to the premier, Rick McIver. I've told them about everything. My
And
Gail
what's been their
Nally,
response?
oh, crickets, nothing, zero, zilch. And these people I know personally.
Well, if you know them personally, I'm sure you've said, so why am I not getting any action?
Well, it's a futile effort, I believe. For whatever reason, whether or not people are personally involved with what's going on, because there has to be with what's happening here. Um, Subsequent to the sexual assault, we've been paying for the infrastructure building, uh, for development for two developers around Gibbons, and that's not usual practice. So there are 3,200 people that live here, and we're currently carrying about, I'd say, roughly $12 million worth of um, debt for the infrastructure, and so that's putting in sewer, water, etc. That is not regular practice, and the when I say we, I didn't vote for this. I want to make that very clear. But council and administration had actually petitioned the municipal affairs for an extension on our debt limit, because there's a debt limit that every municipality has, and it fluctuates based on their assets and liabilities, etc. Right? And had that been approved, we would have been $30 million in debt.
You only have 3,500 people, right?
It's 30, less than 32.
3,200 people with 30 million in debt.
Yeah,
The math isn't sitting really well with me at the moment.
certainly isn't, is it? And that, as a matter of fact, we had requested that extension in April of 2024, and we didn't find out from the minister, and that it was declined until March of 25, and nor did we know that the minister had declined that request 6 or 7 times throughout that year.
Okay, so first
Uh,
off, we can get mad at them for not investigating misconduct, if you will.
mhm.
But it's the same minister that has said, no, we're not going to let you get into debt for 30 million.
That's right,
Same guy? Okay,
same guy.
so if we're up to speed on that one,
Hmm.
let's continue down the path.
Sure.
So you found some missing money.
Yeah,
You found some expenditures that aren't making much sense.
that's right.
You've communicated with anybody who will listen.
Yes.
And now what is changing? What can we all get excited about for the purpose of justice? Justice has been served.
Um, well, that's to be determined. To be honest with you, I it, it's it's I was beat up like by the first half of this term, by my council, because there was no involvement from the community. And I mean, it's easy to shoot my questions down in a council meeting when there's nobody sitting in the gallery. But I have extended myself to the community to the point where I was sort of go to. So what had been happening is that there were little pockets of people within town that were having their own issues, but the common denominator was the town administration and the decisions of council. And so I would spend hours and hours on the phone, sort of repeating the same thing, talking to these folks in town. And finally, after probably a year and a half, I said to all of them, like, look, I love talking to all of you guys, but um, we need to fill the room during the council meetings, because otherwise they don't believe that what I'm saying to them matters to the community, right? And so, having said that, if they don't think that I have community support, then it'll just continue. So I'm thankful that people have in town have woken up. It's certainly not to the extent that I would like it, though. But we were successful in there was a petition to hold a town hall meeting that was done by the community members over the last few months, and that was approved. So I'm thankful for that. As for justice, I don't know, you guys. I guess the CAO has been slept. He quit in January.
That's a good thing. Yes, okay.
Well, sure, he quit, and I wasn't. Unfortunately, I wasn't at this meeting. I was on vacation. But council had decided to give him a severance package of over $220,000 for resigning. And
how long had he been there?
Well, since 2012, but he resigned.
Yeah, but $200,000 for what?
Well,
10
the
years,
reasons
12.
behind his departure have not been made public, and unfortunately, I can't disclose that.
Yeah.
I can tell you that there was no. I do have his employment contract, as we all do. There was no provision in his contract for a severance package should he resign. It was a council decision, and
Hush
I was
money.
told that, and the community was told, this part is public, that he resigned, and as per our the legal opinion that council had sought at the time, that he was entitled, or council made the decision to provide him the severance, and then he was gone in January of this year, and then our mayor resigned in mid to late February.
Could it be they're paying him hush money?
I'm sorry?
Could it be they're paying him hush money? Question only.
I that's something you'd have to ask my fellow councillors.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting
Right?
if we could get them all on air and ask them the question. So what was the triggering point to make you come up with this number?
Yeah, I would like to know that as well. I've been actually fighting with my council, or demanding those exact same answers. And I'm sure you guys are aware that there are closed session meetings or sections to a council meeting that are held behind closed doors, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, there's been abuse of those of using those closed sessions to discuss things that I think should be in on the public stage for public consumption, and this should be one of them. I have sort of traced back the roots of this particular CAO, and he had, from what I understand, the two communities that he was in prior, there were some issues. I mean, and I've spoken with council members that were there at the time, so I have documentation, like I said, of everything.
We're hearing a lot of things about CAOs. I mean, I'm sure there are good ones, but obviously people are going to talk about the bad ones.
Well, and it's a very small pool of people who who apply for these jobs, because they are fairly specialized positions. I mean, you have to be aware of how municipal governance works. You have to be able to run a business. You have to, there's all the other levels of government that you have to be familiar with. So it does take some, like a specialized individual, but the pool is very small. So what has been happening is they, like in our instance, situation is a prime example. We can't say why he left. And trust me, people should know why he left. because now he's free to go and apply for other positions within, in other municipalities. And unless they,
They'll
give
never know the story.
they will never know exactly. They will never know why, he's no longer with Gibbons. So, that's the unfortunate part. Because if there is a good one, I'd like to see. There has to be good ones, but they're kind of regurgitated. They go all over the place.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time on our station that we've had people commenting about the difficulties they're running into. And again, it's because of the hourglass.
Yeah.
Everything up or down goes through one person. It's their moral construct about what it is they decide they're going to pass up or down.
100%. And I feel for the employees because there's one of two things: either some of the employees are involved in what's going on, or they're too scared to say anything for fear of retribution of some sort. And because of that hourglass structure, unless it's a larger municipality where there's a union perhaps involved. I'm going to say an HR department, but again, that's the beast that they'd have to report to, right?
Yeah.
They can't just, they can just go straight to a council member and report what's going on. But in my case, I have not had that happen, and there's 50 employees in the town. Well, yeah. So, I did bring in a whistleblower policy where an employee can go sort of jump that middle hourglass point and make a complaint directly to council. So that was positive as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's go through a couple things, Amber. And
Sure.
I'm gonna try and go through this just obviously. So if wishes were dollars and you could
Right.
do whatever you wanted to do right now, what is it would be done and who would do it?
Well, I think that I would have two wishes, and they are quite different from each other. So one, I really, really wish that the apathy of the public, would start to dissipate, and it does appear that way, right? The more things like my situation here in town are, publicized, the more other communities, like I understand you're having Nikki on from Barrhead County after me. It is seeming to get the public more involved, but because of the apathy of the general, the voter apathy. I mean, we're not only in the predicament that we're in right now in the municipalities. I mean, that goes right up to federal politics, right? People have to start paying attention. So I really, really wish that that's why I will talk to anybody who will, help me get the message out.
People are paying attention, and they're creating laws at
Yeah,
this very
people need to
moment
pay
that are
attention.
preventing people from saying anything about anything.
That's right. And my other wish, frankly, I think that there needs to be a house cleaning of both within both municipal government and administration and provincial.
Red, what do you think? We ask her for a simple question, and she, instead of one wish, she takes two. Like, that's kind of greedy, don't you
Hey,
think?
she deserves it. She's been working
No,
hard enough.
its wishes were dollars.
That's right. That's $2. You cheap bugger.
And when you start looking at, you mentioned that Nikki was going to come on here shortly. I
Yeah.
mean, I look at how she communicated. If you could check your phone, what she's communicated recently to us, I was just thinking maybe we should, continue down that path about people's attire this hour of the night.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we've asked you what you wanted to do. You said the apathy was one,
Yeah.
and
Make
the
it
other one.
public. Tell everybody.
So if we had some ideas for you that we would share in terms of discussing how we could get the public involved, would you be up for that?
100%.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I mean, I have 3 months left in this term, so but I'm going to run again.
Awesome.
I'll be the bane of their existence. I have no problem doing that. But yeah, I need all the help that I can get, and I'm not, at this point.
We're going to get you
focus
some
now
help.
is not only just Gibbons. It's knowing what I know and knowing how rampant it is across the province. Yeah.
We're going to get you some help. We got some people in Gibbons.
I'm sorry. Pardon me.
We have some people in Gibbons. We'll get you some help.
100%. I'd love that, you guys.
And we'll see if we can't cause some more trouble. But listen, want to thank you for coming on, at least sharing part of the story. I think there's some more details we could get into maybe at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
One of the aspects that we want to make sure that our listeners are well aware of is just by saying it once doesn't mean the story's been fixed. We have to actually keep repeating and repeating the information, and especially adding to it as more information comes in. So we'd like to say thank you for joining us and invite you back again if you're interested.
Oh, absolutely, you guys, and really, I appreciate you allowing me to tell what's been going on here via your platform. It hasn't been easy, but it's necessary. I wouldn't be able to. I couldn't just leave it. So I do appreciate it. And yeah, I do. Anytime I would just give me a call, and if there's anything that you'd like to discuss with me, or I have, like I said, I have documentation of everything, gentlemen. So
thank you very much.
Feel free to contact me anytime.
But Amber, here's one of the things I want you to kind of just think about it, and we're going to have our listeners do the same thing, and they're welcome to join us or send their information into ontheair@hhgradio.com.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend your issue is a new arena. We're pretending.
Okay. All right.
With all the difficulties you're having, you're aware, funding, expenses, things aren't adding up. But just down the road from you is another community having the exact same issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be really interesting to overlap those stories, one on top of the other, with the methods that were used to push something through, with the how the bottleneck occurred, with a number of people who were coming forward saying there were issues within different communities having the exact same problem.
Yeah. Well, I could save you the investigation time, gentlemen. I have all that. Names.
Everything. We do love you. Yes.
Yep, definitely.
We will talk some more. But listen,
Yep.
Just so that you're aware, you'll be able to catch this both on a podcast and a rebroadcast here in not that long.
Excellent.
But we appreciate you for coming on, Amber. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darla.
Definitely. Anytime. Thank you again, and I look forward to listening to Nikki.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Darla.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.